Hey, how's it going? It's the first day of the NEWTs Readathon and I picked up Sorcery or Thorns on audiobook to get me started while I was just doing stuff at the start of the day, and I don't know, I'm a little bit struggling with it. I've seen a lot of people say that they love it, so I was kind of hyped for it, and yeah, just a lot of people giving it 4 stars, 5 stars, saying how great it is. So I was really looking forward to it, and the premise did sound kind of interesting to me as well. And I've just really not connected with it. I'm about 2 hours in. I think I'm on chapter 7 at the moment, and it's fine. It's not poorly written or anything like that. I'm just not that connected to the character or what's going on at the moment. I know a lot of people get angry when you talk about the differences between YA and adult, but for me at the moment, this seems like a YA. Like, I can tell by reading it that this is a YA book, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but just for my tastes, it's just not hitting the mark at the moment. If I had to rate it now based on the 2 hours that I've listened, it would probably be somewhere between 2 and 3 stars. But hopefully it picks up. As some people have said to me, it gets really good, and it is very fast paced, which I think doesn't help with the aspect that I'm not enjoying about it. It's that character connection. It doesn't help that I've just come off of a book that is very character focused, the Blade itself, so that's probably hampering things a little bit, although hopefully the intense plot will kick in and maybe that will override things, or maybe there'll be a bit more character depth coming up. Anyway, other than that, I do have a physical book to read. I'm going to keep Sorcery of Thorns for audiobook, just for when I'm on the move, and it's not even that long. I think it's 14 hours overall, so I've only got 12 hours left. Yeah, I'll definitely finish that. So my physical book, let me grab that. So in physical book, I have got Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik, and I don't know if this is going to come out reversed in the footage or if it will flip after, but it's definitely Spinning Silver. The weird thing about this, though, I got this from the library, that's why it's got this plasticky cover on it. The weird thing about it, so it definitely says Spinning Silver, Naomi Novik on the front, but the blurb from Robin Hobb says Enchanting in Every Sense, Robin Hobb on Uprooted, which is one of Naomi Novik's other books. I was like, that's weird, why are you advertising Uprooted on Spinning Silver? And I thought maybe it was just, for the author, that Robin Hobb's quite a prominent author and she was respecting another prominent author, so that's why. And then I looked on the back, and again, Ursula K. Le Guin, the magic in Uprooted, with its again, yeah, I'm not going to read out the whole thing, but it praises Uprooted. And then again, Patrick Rothfuss, Uprooted has everything I love about Naomi Novik's writing. It's like all these authors, loads of them, are just all talking about Uprooted on a Spinning Silver cover, and it's weird. I thought maybe they've put the wrong sleeve on the book or something, but no, when you open it up, it's definitely Spinning Silver. So that was a weird one. Not sure why the publishers chose to advertise Uprooted instead of Spinning Silver. I mean, hopefully it means this book is still good and it's not just like, oh, so what did you think of Spinning Silver? I mean, Uprooted's good. Hopefully it does mean that Spinning Silver's still good. And to be honest, I've only heard good things about it and about pretty much all of Naomi Novik's books. I've heard people say good things. I haven't heard a lot of people, let's try that again. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about her, I'm going to butcher this, Temeraire? Her Temeraire series, the dragons one. As far as I know, it's basically dragons in the Napoleonic. Apparently I can't speak all of a sudden. It's about dragons in the Napoleonic era. And I haven't heard many people talk about it, but the people I do hear talk about it say it's good. And the same with Uprooted, funnily enough. So yeah, really looking forward to getting to Spinning Silver, and it is a polar fantasy, and I'm doing it from my buddy Jade. I'm getting into the polar fantasy hype, believe it. So I've just got some food on the go at the moment, and then I am going to sit down and crack on with this bad boy. I'm pretty much going to spend all my evening doing that, to be honest, and I will check in with you once I've done that. I thought, I haven't read Spinning Silver yet. I just thought I'd update you on some other books I got from the library as well. Because what I'm planning to do is read through the Hugo Award nominations and the Booker Award nominations. I'm going to try and prioritise the Hugo Awards because they're in like 17 days now. So I'm basically not going to get the Hugo Award nominations done before the winner is announced, due to reading speed and probably getting the books that I need to read them. But even so, I'd like to read all of the Hugo nominations and give my opinions on them. But I have picked up one of the Bookers. I think the other one I got was for my original TBR for the NEWTs Readathon. But I think I even changed it from the TBR that I posted. So I don't know. I've just picked up another book from the library somehow. But so this one is the Booker, one of the Booker nominations, and it is Frankenstein by Jeanette Winterson. Frankenstein. And I didn't know what it was about. I basically, for these Booker nominations, I didn't really know what any of them were about. And I'm sorry if you might be able to hear my food cooking in the background. I didn't know what any of them were about, but I'll give you just the first paragraph of the blurb for Frankenstein. In Brexit Britain, a young transgender doctor called Rye is falling in love against their better judgment with Victor Stein, a celebrated professor leading the public debate around AI. So, obviously a spin on Frankenstein and very wrapped up in modern society, although pretty much all of the Booker books will be. I think I read Exit West by Mohsin Hamid last year for the Booker Prize, and that's pretty much my only experience with the books from that prize. But as far as I'm aware, they're all going to be like hot takes on the culture of now. So transgender, Brexit, AI, I mean that's now, isn't it? That's 2019. So I'm interested. I am actually really interested to get to this. I think it's going to be a good read. And it doesn't look too long either. Yeah, it'd be good. The other one I've got, I was super interested in. Again, this is not on the Booker Prize or anything. I just got it because I think originally, was it leaves? I don't know if it was like a flower on the cover, or maybe it was beautiful cover. I'm not sure, but I think I just saw the blurb and the cover's kind of nice. It's not my favourite cover, but it's kind of nice. It's definitely in the style of covers that I like, the classical style. Anyway, let me just read a bit of the blurb, because the blurb is what really got me and what made me want to read this book. So imagine you could erase your grief. Imagine you could forget your pain. Imagine you could hide a secret forever. Emmett Farmer is working in the fields when a letter arrives summoning him to become an apprentice. He will work for a bookbinder, a vocation that arouses fear, superstition and prejudice, but one neither he nor his parents can afford to refuse. He will learn to handcraft beautiful volumes, and within each he will capture something unique and extraordinary, a memory. If there's something you want to forget, he can help. If there's something you need to erase, he can assist. Your past will be stored safely in a book, and you will never remember your secret, however terrible. In a vault under his mentor's workshop, row upon row of books and memories are meticulously stored and recorded. Then one day, Emmett makes an astonishing discovery. One of them has his name on it. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds fantastic. You know, I think it's such a thing with putting books or libraries or bookish people in books, because you know you're just going to get the book people on board. We love those things. Give us more stories about books because we love books. But anyway, sounds really intriguing. However, I did read something quite disappointing. I did read some reviews that were quite disappointing about it, in that whole aspect of the bit that you're probably captured by and I'm captured by, where you can put your memories into books and forget them, like a pensieve, like a book pensieve almost, it just doesn't take, it's not really in the book. It's not featured. And if you've ever read The Miniaturist, a book club I'm part of read that a while back, And I think that was the same thing. They thought there was going to be like more magic in it, and it just kind of ended up being a historical novel, historical fiction novel. And I've kind of heard that's what happens here, and that the actual fantastical element of the premise just disappears after the first act, which is really sad. I'm kind of disappointed. So I might actually not end up reading this because I've got the Hugo Awards and the Booker Awards and the NEWTs Readathon. But if any of you have read it, please let me know if it's worth it. Anyway, now I'm going to get food. Now I'm going to go meet Spinning Silver. Catch you in a bit. It's Saturday the 3rd now, so I missed a day of catching you up yesterday. Nothing too crazy happened, you know, just got some reading done as per usual. I was just having a pretty rough anxiety day, so I didn't really feel in the mood for filming anything. But I'm about 20% of the way through Sorcery, Thorns and Spinning Silver now, and Spinning Silver is much more to my tastes. I'm really enjoying it, and I guess it makes sense because it was nominated for a Hugo Award, but I just feel that there's a lot more characterization in Spinning Silver, and the voice is really strong. There's two POVs, main POVs at the moment, although we did just dip into a third one briefly. But the voices of those characters are very strong and distinct, and the emotion in the writing is so good. Like, just, I can't remember what I said the other day, but just within those first couple of chapters, the depth of characterization and the emotion that it got out of me just in those few chapters was so good. Whereas with Sorcery of Thorns, I feel like I'm at arm's length from the character, and I just don't really understand them. Like, I don't know why they want what they want, or why they are the way they are. It's just kind of it's a bit too distant for my tastes personally, though I know a lot of people do have enjoyed that book. I think it's going to change a little bit as we get into the story. And another thing that I'm not enjoying about Sorcery of Thorns is the main character's naivety. I mean, I understand it because she's meant to have lived a sheltered life so far, but I just feel like there's just so many obvious logic jumps that she's not making, and it's kind of hard being on the side of knowing more than the main character, and just like, come on, why are you not getting this? Like, it's obvious what's going on here. Like, I'm not even in the situation, so technically I'm naive to this to this world, and yet I can make these jumps and see what's going on. And I think, I'm not sure if it helps. I'm not sure if that's more impacted by me listening to the audiobook, because like some of the voices and the way that characters say things make things even more obvious. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, of course this is the way it is, but the main character just doesn't seem to get it, just doesn't seem to understand, and that irritates me a little bit. And because I'm not in their heads so much, because it's not a close POV, and I can't understand what's going through their head and why they're not understanding what's going on, it compounds, those two issues compound each other, basically. But saying that, I'm going to keep going with Sorcery of Thorns, and some people have said it gets better. I'm not sure if it will, but, and again, it's not the worst book. It's not like I hate it or anything. It's just personally for my tastes, it's not, there's not as much character work as I would like. But saying that, I'm going to go and listen to it now. I've actually got to get some chores done, so I'm going to go and clean the oven, which is fun. I won't bring you along vlogging cleaning the oven, because you don't need to see that. But I will be listening to the audiobook while I do that, so hopefully I do get quite a big chunk taken out of it. Hey, how's it going? It's Sunday now, so I didn't actually end up updating you again yesterday because I spent all day in the garden, basically, getting on top of things there, but that did give me a good opportunity to get some Sorcery of Thorns done, and I'm over 60% of the way through now, or about 60% of the way through, and really I don't have too much more to say than I've already said, to be honest. I think that it's definitely don't think it's going to be one of my personal favourites, but that is just purely because of how the characters are written. It just doesn't connect with me, and I do like a little bit more character depth. But I know that a lot of people like it because it is very fast paced, and the plot is always constantly moving forward. There are always things happening, and I guess that's the thing. And when people talk about books, it is always character v plot. Do you prefer plot stories or character stories? So there always does always seem to be some sort of, it's one or the other. And a lot of books, and generally these books tend to be, you know, the best books, the ones that win awards and classics almost, seem to strike a balance, or can strike a balance. Not all of them do, but can strike a balance between the two. But this one is definitely more plot focused and is definitely very fast paced. I think that for me, again, I mentioned the other day, the story is kind of typical of YA, and I don't mean that in any offensive way. But if I was to pick a book that somebody said, "Oh, pick a book that you think that fits the YA genre well," this would definitely be up there for me. So far, there's not really been any twists and turns in the story that shocked me. Everything seems to be it's all pointing in one direction, and you're just moving along in that direction very steadily. The character relationships, the plot, everything is as it is described to be from the get-go. It's not really like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened, that's shocking or crazy. It's just fairly standard, and to me, I like a little bit more unpredictability in the story. I like a bit of twists and turns, and some people might say that the relationship between the main character and the sorcerer is kind of the twist, although I don't think it is, because even in the book it kind of hints that they have to work together. I'll now have to check the blurb, and if it doesn't, I'll have to take this out. But I'm pretty sure heading into the book, because I didn't read the blurb before going in, but from what I'm aware of other people saying, that it is like the blurb says that these two end up working together. So, and I never felt that. I can't remember if I mentioned in the last clip, but I never felt that any of these characters weren't what they were presented to be. I'm listening to the audiobook version, and in that version, the voices that the narrator uses basically just gives away whether the person is good or evil. Like, the good people speak in a good voice, and the evil people speak in an evil voice. And so it's hard for me, especially when you have this main character that is incredibly naive. And you're like, well, of course this person is evil. They're clearly evil. Why? And I feel that the dynamic when we first meet the sorcerer, and it's clear. It's clear that he is a good person. And throughout the novel, throughout the first half, she's like, oh, but he's a bad guy. Why is he a bad guy? Or like, that doesn't make sense. She's like, why he's a bad guy, I can't trust him, he's evil, and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, no, he's clearly not. Literally, by the things he's saying and the actions he's taking, he's clearly not a bad guy. But the character is naive and has been brought up in an institution, so doesn't know any better. So I can't, it's not like that's a flaw in the writing. That is the character, so we go with it. But I just don't like that sort of naivety, and I think I did mention this in the last clip. Like, even when we go into like following Harry Potter, who's lived his life in the Muggle world and then gets suddenly introduced to this crazy magical world that he had no idea existed, he is not as naive as this character. Like, he can see, like, oh, Snape, you're an ass, and Draco, you're an ass, and Ron and Hermione, although he did take a while to warm up to Hermione, a bit mean to begin with, but he kind of understands the nuances of life, whereas this character doesn't. So I feel like there's no complexity in the dynamics between the characters or in the plot itself. Not that that's a bad thing. Again, it's very fast paced, very easy to read, and I'm sure that's why a lot of people are loving it. Just for me, I would like something a little bit more that I can sink my teeth into. Um, and I guess it's hard because I have been reading some books that do that really well recently, along with Spinning Silver, which I'm still not super far into, so I can't really comment on it, although I think it is very good. The First Law, the last book I finished, does this exceptionally well because you're following literally evil people, shades of grey to basically black, and you sympathise and empathise and understand, and you realise that yes, they're doing horrible things, but they also have humanity and empathy and humour and love things, and it's a complex character. They're not just one thing, and we don't have that in Sorcery of Thorns. Unfortunately, I don't know who this main character is. I don't know anything about them, at all, really. They want to stop the villain. I can't remember his title. They want to stop the villain. And they wanted to become a warden. I'm not sure if they still do or not, but they wanted that. Why they want that, I'm not sure. I guess because they're institutionalized. It's all they know. They love books. They definitely love books. Why do they love books? I don't know. Again, I guess it's because they're institutionalized and that's just all they've ever known. I can't say, like, this is why they love books, and there's, like, I don't know, there's just nothing. I feel like the character is not deep enough for me to really have a connection. But again, I'm just repeating myself now, that does allow for the plot to just move forward very, very fast, because you don't have to spend time building the character depth. So pros and cons, and 40% of the way through, which I think is about 6 hours of audiobook, so I'll definitely finish it eventually. I am out this afternoon in a couple of hours, hopefully, for some lunch, and then I've got a meeting this evening, which shouldn't last too long. But other than that, I'm going to try and get in as much reading as possible. I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to just try and power through. No, I'll save Sorcery of Thorns, and I'll because it is audiobook. It's good for me to do that while I'm doing other things like cleaning and stuff. So I will not carry on with Sorcery of Thorns right now, but I'll go back into Spinning Silver instead, because I am enjoying that and I do want to make a lot of progress in that, because it is going to help me for the Hugo Awards reading that I want to do as well. And it's a library book, so I do have a deadline. Other than that, there's not really much more to tell. I think that is everything. That is you all caught up on my thoughts and feelings so far on the readathon. I feel like I am falling behind because everybody on Twitter and Instagram seems to be like finishing their third book and their fourth book, and everybody's doing really well. And there's just me, just about halfway through one. So I'm making good progress. And yeah, hopefully I can get some more reading done today. I'll let you know. Probably tomorrow, because it seems I'm terrible at evening updates, but I'll let you know as soon as I can. It's Monday morning now, so I did fail updating you yesterday evening, so I mean that's a pattern now, so we're just going to keep it. I ended up going out for lunch yesterday, went to a tapas place, which is really good. I've not had tapas in the UK before, I've only ever had it in Spain. But it was really good. It was pretty solid. I'd definitely go again. And we was intending to go and see the new Fast and the Furious movie, the Hobbs and Shaw movie, but it was all sold out, which is like the first time that's happened to me in years. Like, I can't even remember the last time I went to the cinema and it was actually sold out. So instead we went to do a couple of games of bowling. Yeah, it's pretty good because there's a new bowling place like where our cinema and all that is, so we just decided to go and try that out, and yeah, it was pretty good, pretty chill. And then by the time I got home and had to deal with a couple of other stuff, there was the Magical Readathon Harry Potter watching session, where we all watched the Philosopher's... I cannot speak today. We all watched the Philosopher's Stone movie, and there was a Twitter thread and we all just sort of chatted about it in there, and that was pretty good, pretty fun. Unfortunately I did get like really bad anxiety and kind of just messed up the rest of my evening, so once that was over I couldn't really do much else. I tried to read, I was intending to read, because I hadn't read it all yet. But I just couldn't. I tried and I just couldn't focus on a couple of sentences. So I just thought I'd just leave it and went to bed basically. And when I woke up this morning, I decided to push on and catch up from what I missed yesterday. And I'm now over a quarter of the way through Spinning Silver, and yeah, I mean, still really enjoying it. The plot is still building. I think we're just about to hit the moment now where the plot really shifts gears, because things have started happening, and there's basically a change in the status quo. But yeah, literally as I stopped reading, the change happened. So up until that point, everything had just been steadily building, and yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving the characters. Yeah, I'm only a quarter of the way through. I'm so happy with it. I think it's definitely going to be one of my favourites of the year. And again, I can see why it's been nominated for a Hugo Award. I love, because it's multiple POV. So far, we've had 3 POVs. I don't know if there's more or not, but they're all in close proximity to each other, so they all interact with each other, and it's just so interesting to be inside someone's head and then see what they're thinking about one person, and then switching to the other person and seeing what they're actually thinking and how they think of the other person. And I just love it. I think it's really good and can't wait to read more. I'm actually going to be listening to Sorcery of Thorns though, a little bit today, because I've got some things to do. That means I can't read, but I can listen to an audiobook, so I'll try and get a couple more hours out of that. And yeah, I'll be very close to the end. I'll definitely finish that this week. I've only got about 6 hours left, so I'll just chip away at that slowly. And then yeah, maybe I'll try and read more Spinning Silver tonight. I'll see how things go. If not, then I have a pretty free day tomorrow, so what I'll try and do is just take a big chunk out of it tomorrow, and try and get things moving, try and get an exam actually finished, because we're on day 5 now, I think, and yeah, the pace isn't hot. I mean, fortunately for my required exams, I don't actually have to finish a lot, but there's definitely no chance of me doing the 36 this year like I did last year. Let's just say that. Anyway, I'm gonna go and crack on now, and judging by how I do these vlogs, I will probably update you tomorrow. Although I think most people end their vlogs on Sunday, which like makes sense because you do the whole week. So this is actually a cheeky bonus extra. So I'll put this vlog out and start a new one, and I'll see you in that one.